This conference will now be recorded.
Hello all, welcome to the session. This is Arvind. So I'll be walking you through the mobile automation testing today and going further. And yes, so let's start the session for today. And maybe like say just a request, like whoever is not speaking, just if you can mute yourself, it'll be kind enough. And also, like say we have a chat available in GoToMeeting, you can utilize that one, the chat for pinging. So I think most of you guys saw it. Yes, Sanjeev. Yeah, we just started the session. Yeah, we were just waiting for folks to join. Yeah, and we'll be starting it. Yes, and yep. So kindly mute yourself if you're not speaking. So you can unmute yourself when you speak it, or you if you don't feel comfortable unmuting, you can just put it on the chat so I'll be able to answer it. And I hope my screen is also visible. You're able to see my what is it? You're able to see my Google Slides. So kindly confirm it with a yes or no in the chat so that it will be
Yes,
helpful.
Arvind, we can see.
Yep, thanks for that. Yeah. So okay, so let's start the session for today. So yeah. So this session is like say for our mobile automation. So as you could see from the slide, so mobile automation in the sense the tool that we are going to deal with is like say we call it as an Appium. So that's the tool. And so this is quite an introductory session. So all your doubts, everything, if you want to clarify, you can clarify it. So we'll be walking you through the syllabus and what we are going to do as part of your mobile automation and quick installation steps what we are going to do about and stuff. So all we'll be seeing it over here. So that's the agenda of this first session. So since it's a demo session, and tomorrow like we'll be starting the full-fledged sessions actually. So this is a kind of a demo session like where you can have your doubts clear, the syllabus, how we are going to track it, and all those things actually. Yeah. So that's pretty much is it for today. So that's why the slides are in place. But most probably the sessions are mostly like 100% practical. So we don't have a theoretical part. So that's for take beforehand. And let's move on to our session and short introduction about me. And let's go ahead further. So once again, like welcome to the session, and this is a session on mobile automation. So and my name is Arvind. So I'll be walking you through this session for you. And a short introduction, as I said, I have around like 13 plus years of experience as automation engineer, and I'm expertise in certain fields like say APM, Selenium, Cucumber, Cypress, TestNG, JUnit, and all those things actually, and also kind of a REST assured, Postman, and all those things which are apart from these things. And I've been as a corporate trainer online and offline for around like 8 years altogether, and also like I worked with a lot of clients actually from my professional perspective and outside professional perspective for some client engagement activities. So those include like Verizon, Emirates, and BT, Binance, and more, just to name a few. And this is about myself. And let's have like say a quick round of a chat. Like say, let's see, maybe you can introduce yourself. I can see your names, but let me know your years of experience if you're comfortable, or like you can just type in which domain you're working and stuffs in the chat. Maybe a quick 30 seconds, something like that. Yeah, you can just chat it over. Yeah, it will be really helpful for me to understand the kind of audience we are in.
Hi, Arvind.
Hello, Aman. Yeah.
I can say I've been into the telecommunication industry
Mm-hmm.
from the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been working as a automation engineers. My main programming language is Python. I do have an experience with
Mm.
Selenium and
Ah, okay.
request libraries in terms of API automation, and a bit of an experience with the Playwright as well.
Okay, that's great to hear. And welcome to the session. Yeah.
Thank you.
So maybe yeah, you can chat as well. So that's also completely fine. So just 30 seconds just to get an intro about ourselves, so that it will be helpful for me to understand.
Hi, Arvind, this is Ravi.
Yeah. Hello. Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have about 20 plus years experience in QA. Uh, I'd been developing automation frameworks using UFT for, I mean, it was QTP at that time,
Yep.
uh,
Yeah.
for, for Nokia,
Mm-hmm.
for Qualcomm, and General Motors and all. But unfortunately, now Micro Focus has taken over UFT, and there's no much leeway
Scope.
for me to survive. So
Yeah. Got it. Got it.
yeah, I learned Selenium quickly. So
Mhm.
I hope that I'm pinning my hopes on Appium. I don't know how it's going to work.
Yeah, got it, got it. Yeah. QTP has been a long time forerunner in automation, but quite recently they have been a little down due to these open source and all those things coming into picture and the capability that they have it. Yeah, yes, that's true. Yeah, and yeah, welcome to the session. Yeah, hope I think you'll get something out of it. This one for sure. Yeah,
Thank you,
and
Arvind. Thank you.
yeah, thank you. So
Yeah, hi
yeah,
Arvind.
yeah.
So,
Hello.
yeah, hi, my name is Indra, and I'm working as automation engineer with CyberArk. So, it's a security domain. So, I'm
Mm-hmm,
working on Python. So, I have knowledge in Java as well.
mm-hmm.
I feel Appium will be an weightage for my existing career.
Oh,
So,
okay. Yeah.
total I have 5 years of experience.
Okay. Yeah. Welcome to the session in the cinema. Yes.
Thank
That's
you.
quite interesting. Yeah. Cybersecurity is quite interesting. Yeah. And those who are in chat, yes. Thanks,
Hi,
Preeti, and thanks, Gabriel. Yeah, for that. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Please go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
sorry, no worries. Hi, Irvin. My name is Mohammed Ishaq. I'm
Yeah.
working in software test field for 3 years.
Mm-hmm,
Mainly now I am working as a test automation engineer with Playwright and Cypress using
mm-hmm.
Java, JavaScript, and TypeScript also.
Oh, okay.
Also, I have some experience when I am started in Selenium.
Mm-hmm,
Uh, but in Appium, I have practiced as some the main features only, but I'm not
mm-hmm.
working with it officially in any company.
Ah, okay. Got it. Got it. Yeah. Yeah. Welcome to the session, Ashak. Yeah. Okay, so maybe I think hope that's fine for the intro. Maybe rest of the people, like if you can input it as a chat, it will be helpful. So maybe let's quickly dive into it. And as I see, like a lot of people are already into automation. That's quite interesting to see the landscape of the area we are in, like as a software engineers. Yeah, so most of us are now aware, at least 50 to 70 percentage of what is automation and how it is going in. Yeah, that's quite interesting to know. Yeah, so because I've been like doing it corporate training for 8 years, and if you see from the starting, like it's mostly like manual to automation, but now automation to different automation. So it's quite interesting to see that, and yeah, it's quite good as well. Yeah, thanks for that one round of introduction. Yeah. Okay, so and thanks Frishab and thanks Shivam. Yes. Okay, so yes, let's jump into our motor automation. What is mobile automation technically? So that's our agenda for today. So what is mobile automation is like say um, I hope you all have some type of mobile devices connected to you. So technically, like say, if you see any mobile devices that you're hold, whether you're holding an iOS or an Android, or even like say some people will have a Huawei or a Honor device, which has a separate OS which similar to Android, but we call it as a Harmony OS or something like that. So all these devices can be like automated and for our testing purpose, whether it's going to be in the production application or whether it's going to be inside a closed application similar to that of an SIT or a UAT phase. So SIT, when I say, it refers to the system integration testing, and UAT is like user acceptance testing. So all these things can be automated actually, and when you try to automate, the organization provides you the support to automate it. So that means, like say, before an application goes to a Play Store or an Android Play Store or an iOS App Store, so we have a facility of a beta testing available, so which suffices these automation things to be happen before going towards your live users or the real-time users. So these type of automations can be performed, and there are different approaches to perform the automation. So those different types or the landscape in which we perform the automations, only we call it as a native application, web application, and a hybrid application. So maybe just from the crowd, like anyone is aware about of all these three or any of these three types of applications that a mobile is being dealt. Maybe any one of you or anyone can ping it or something like that. What does these mean about? Maybe just 10 seconds. Let's see. Okay, no problem. So no issues. So these are nothing but the types of application that a mobile is holding about. Okay, so it might be an Android application, it might be an iOS application, and the application that is deployed on these devices is categorized into these three types of application. So it's going to be either a native application or a hybrid application, or as well as a web application. Okay, so for example, native application deals with something that is native to the phone that you are going to use about. So if it's going to be an iPhone, so only the iPhone devices can use that particular application. So that means, like say, whatever the application is available inside your app store, so they are going to use that particular item. So it cannot be installed inside an Android, and also, like say, an Android application which is available in Play Store cannot be installed in an iOS. So that's what we call it as a native application. So native applications are quite friendly to the device that we are going to use about. And again, like say, native applications are very fast as well, and technically now a lot of peoples are using the native application. And the next one is, like say, web application. So web application is nothing but your device. Okay, so whatever the device you're holding, so will have a native browser. Okay, so you'll have a native browser available. So these native browsers are nothing but in Google Chrome, I can say it as, like say, a Chrome browser is a native browser. And similarly, if you're holding a Samsung device, they have their own browser available. I don't remember the name, but they have their own browser available. And similarly, if you take iOS, they have their own browser, Safari. So if an application is compatible only on a mobile device and that too only on the browser, so we call that particular item as your web application browser. So again, you can ask me a question like, say, web application in the sense it's compatible in a desktop or a laptop as well. So what does make the difference between that one the and the application that we see on the mobile devices? So technically what happens is, like, there is a difference in the resolution, the texture, and all those things. For example, so if I take something like, say, atlantis.com, okay, so this is my web application, I would say, correct, right? So you can see how, like say, the texture and the look and feel is good. But similarly, now if I change it to something like, say, like this, So I reduce the dimension screen resolution to something like this. So you can see it probably changed. So the way it looked, it changed. And similarly, if I change the dimension to a phone, it changes. The resolution changes. And similarly, the options also sometimes might be a change. Okay. So, and if I switch to something like an tab, you can see that the ratio gets changed. So all these changes are like say mostly related to the UI, and this UI checking also we'll be doing it up. Okay, so that's how there is a differentiation between a desktop and the device, and the application you open in a device browser looks. Okay, so it's not completely different, I would say. To a certain extent it's going to be the same, but some features might be ignored and some features might be added with respect to the device that you're going to test it up. So these are the things like mostly mobile testing will be focusing on web application. Okay, and usually now if you see it starts with atlantis.com, and some of the apps like say if you see previously it might exist now also, but quite recently I didn't see anything. So it starts with m dot the application name, so most probably the Facebook you might have seen m dot facebook.com. So that means that's a mobile version of Facebook compatible for the browser that we are going to use it about. So that's how the change happens. Okay, and technically if you speak in a simple word, what you can tell it is like a web application is something like same as that of your desktop, but it's compatible for different version of screen resolutions or different version of the devices that we are going to use about, and the browsers as well taken into consideration. So this is also like previously most of the people were using it, but that's the reason there is a overcome in the or shift in the type of application came, which is called as your hybrid application. So hybrid applications are nothing but it combines the feature of native application and the web application together. Okay, so that means like say it is developed natively but can incorporate some features which is applicable from your web as well. So that's the reason we call it as your hybrid one. So these hybrid applications are technically good, but when native started to dominate. Okay, for example, if native application, if you take it, like say iOS uses something called Flutter or a Swift for development of their application systems, and similarly, an Android uses something like say Java or Kotlin, the programming languages I mean. And similarly the Flutter and Swift is also the programming languages for iOS. So they made the native application to engage more and develop a feature that is competitive to hybrid application, and that's the reason like now most of the people migrated from hybrid application to your native application. Okay, and some peoples will have a wrong impression that an hybrid application means it works on both Android and iOS, one single package. Technically, that doesn't work. Okay, so hybrid application means they incorporate the behavior of web as well as the native together in a single application or a single package, which represented as a hybrid application. But hybrid application
Yeah,
was very
Arvind.
popular. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, actually, so in
Mhm.
my previous project, we have mobile applications.
Okay.
So they use Flutter for developing the mobile application. So they
Mhm.
told that a Flutter can a single development can use for both iOS and Android.
Yes, yes, that is feasible. Yes, that is feasible. But the package used to deploy will be different.
Okay,
The environment used to deploy will be different. So the language can handle the compatibility, okay, between an iOS and Android. But the package in which they are going to use it, it will be different. For like say how to make this a clarity, for example an Android, all the applications are available in a Play Store, correct, right? So apart from Play Store, if you want to download it and run it, it should needs to be from a developer or something. And similarly for an iOS, it's from the App Store. So the language is same, but the area in which they are going to deploy is going to be different. So that's technically, like, say, what we can tell it is like the development is cost is less, but the deployment is going to be two different deployments. Yes, technically there will be a difference. So the package and the bundle will be a difference will be there. But yes, as you said, like say the Flutter, it's for like say developed for both Android and iOS. Yes, that's true. Yeah. Okay. Similarly, the same thing will happen for your Android as well. So I think the Kotlin is one of the programming languages which has the ability, but I'm not like say 100% confirm on that. But Flutter, I can say it's 100% confirm because the same thing happened in my company as well. So they are trying to use it up. Okay, so reuse the features. One developer and reuse the multiple features for it. Okay, can you give some example for hybrid applications? Yes, yeah, we can give it up. Just a minute. Let me connect my device, for example. Okay, so most probably some of the banking applications will have an hybrid feature and bundled, but I cannot say it's as an 100% hybrid application, but they have some type of what is it? Some type of web pages embedded inside the application. Maybe I think just a second. Let me project my device. So are you able to see my device by any chance? My mobile device? No, right? Okay. So let me how to share. Okay. So I hope you can see my mobile device actually now. So maybe let me know if it is fine. Yeah. So this is my mobile device. I just connected my mobile device. And if you see some of the apps, right? So most probably like say the HDFC app, which I'm using it. So it will be pointing to some type of like say if you see there is a click here option. If I click it, so it goes to some type of a web page kind of thing embedded inside. So but this web page is a different one, I would say, because it's inside an app. As you can see, if I click it, there is no web page available. How can I say there is no web page? There is no cross button at the top over here. I mean to say cross button at the top. Okay, over here there is no cross button. So technically if there is a web application, there will be a cross button available. And for example, if I okay, there is an application, just a minute. So this is a demo application. Okay, so not a real application, I would say. So let me log into this one, standard underscore user, and then we have the secret underscore sauce, and I click on a login. Oh no. So what is a password? Secret sauce. Standard user. Secret. SECRET underscore SAUC. Login. Yeah. So if you see an hybrid application, how does it look? So you click over here. So there is a web view content. And it navigates within the app. Now it's going to go outside the app. HTTPS ://www.google.com. If I type in and click go to site, you can see there is a web application open for me. So this is a kind of a hybrid application which we can use it up. Like say, I can search over here, for example, what is a bag? Okay. So just swag lab or something like that and search for it. Yeah. So you get to see it. And if you want to go back, so there is a gesture available in my device actually. So if I swipe in, like say, it goes back to the application. So this is a kind of a hybrid application, I can say, but not an exact hybrid application, because nowadays like hybrid application are becoming less and less void, because depending upon the features available in the native application. But this is a kind of hybrid application that you can have a look onto it. Okay. So is there any doubt over here till now? So what is the differentiation between the application? Yeah, thanks, Sanjeev. Yeah, thanks for that.
So can we conclude Flutter as a hybrid application?
We can conclude Flutter as a programming language used to develop a application which can run on both environments. So we can't tell it as a hybrid application because the landscape, the deployment, everything is different.
Okay.
So it's a programming that is used to build a application which can exist on both Android and iOS. Okay.
Yeah, yes. And
Yeah.
one more
Yeah.
thing, like I see
Mm.
both the way they are using Flutter parallel to that. So again, they're looking for a native both for iOS and Android. Separate developers, they used to develop some applications. What is the reason behind it?
Correct. Yeah, the same thing, same approach only I would say, because the programming language, that's a different, because Flutter is still a lot of people have not adapted to it because of the security and all those things, and primarily it's developed by what is it, the Apple. So that's also one thing. So a lot of people has no exposure, and technically if you see now Swift is also more into the industry rather than a Flutter. And also like say the technical architecture, the way of development, and Android, they used to develop in an Android studio with help of a Kotlin or a Java or any of the other programs. Sometimes like they even use a JavaScript or a TypeScript for development. So along with the Kotlin, I would say, not an individual one, because the landscape is also different actually, and also like uh, primarily like I was focused on Swift because that's a native programming language. So all these combinedly, when we say the architecture, the programming language, the deployment areas, so everything is different. So that's the reason there are like say two different developers available for a mobile development, and each application is behaving differently based upon the landscape. So that determines like say which application we'll be using and how we will be using it up. Yeah, so I don't see anything that can come in the near future which has a common background or common thing that can integrate an iOS or an Android together. But maybe that there is AI also coming into picture, and so there might be some new programming languages or something which can support it up. Yeah. So the thing or a simple thing, what I can say it is like it has a two different deployment windows, App Store and a Play Store. So that's the reason we have two developers. Yeah, and the programming language is also quite different. So hope that answers that one.
Yeah, thank you, Arvind.
Yeah, thank you. So maybe now let's get to over these things, and these things are in a separate slides. Whatever we discussed, the native application, the web application, and the hybrid one, and which one to choose, that's the main thing actually. So nowadays like say if you see like a lot of people are moving towards the native application, and it is of very higher productivity, like as I said, like say there are two different developers and they are used to develop it and they used to do it, all those things. So technical stuffs, and now if we generically consider how which one to choose, so predominantly it's going to be a native. But what are the factors that affecting to consider a native is like say the performance, the features, the development time, and the budget constraints. So all these will define like say which application to develop. And neither to deny not to accept, like hybrid was also a little popular, but lately like say they have been like say little down actually. So a lot of people are moving towards the native one because of the reliability and the security features as well. So that's the reason, like say now, native application development is considered a more privileged one when compared to the other types. Okay, so maybe let's move on to the next one. Okay, and the prerequisites, coming to our prerequisites of learning our Appium. So I from the discussion I can see most of us are aware about of any one of the programming language, not with respect to Java. So but other programming languages, like say we saw some JavaScript, TypeScript, and also some Python also we saw some people know about it. Sorry, I couldn't remember the name, but yeah, so you're about it. So Python and JavaScript are really great programming languages, but they are also compatible with Appium, I would say, but as a different framework. But when we see Java, so what we are going to see over here is like say the Java frameworks. Okay, so but when you learn Java or the other programming languages, it's going to be quite easy. Like how most probably the Python and JavaScript looks similar in some features, same way the Java also looks similar in those kind of things actually. So and the first prerequisite, that's the one. So we need to know the Java, and those who have been like say over here, so all the 20 to 22 people, like say if you are aware about Java, it's good enough. But in case if someone is a fresher or you don't know about the Java, so we have a session for that as well. But it'll be around like 5 to 6 sessions, like you'll be learning about the Java, and then there is a kickstart on the uh, Appium part. And again, like say another prerequisite, which is mostly like optional. So we have something called a Selenium. So I think most of you have mentioned it as a web application. So if you know Selenium, it's fine. But if you don't know, that's also completely fine, because we are going to borrow some library files from Selenium and then use it inside your Appium. And if you know Selenium, that's going to be an easy task for you. But if you don't know, not an issue. So we are here to help. So we'll be taking you through the commands and all those things. So that should be good for you. Yeah. And then comes your Android SDK. So SDK is short form of your software development kit. So we'll be helping you to set up the Android Studio, your SDK, how to connect your device, configure the device so that it supports your automation. And yeah, yes, is there something there on that? Sorry about that. Okay, so one more question from Preeti. Do we need experience in manual mobile application testing? Not required, actually. Not required. So anyhow, we'll be seeing those things as well. We will not cover the entire manual testing, but we'll touch base it. Okay, we'll touch base it. But an experience in mobile application manual testing is not required, I wouldn't say, because when you say manual testing nowadays, it's similar to that of what we are doing in the web application. So anything specific, definitely I'll be covering it in our session. But an exclusive mobile manual testing experience is not required. Yeah, I would say not required. Okay, because from application to application it varies, and the internal structure also it varies in the testing. So I would suggest not required. Yeah, not required at all. Yeah. What depth we need to know the Java, like collections and XPath and CSS? Yeah, till the collections level, if you know, that should be pretty much fine. So, but to be on a safer hand, we'll be covering the generics part as well. So in our upcoming sessions on the Java and XPaths and CSS, yes, definitely that's part of our locator strategies in the Appium, but it will be a slightly different one when compared to your web application, because in Appium, like we have Android and iOS based locators available. So four locators altogether, which includes Android and iOS. So that is available. So we'll be covering that one as well. Yeah. So yes. So all these things we'll be covering it up. Yes. But just to beforehand, whoever is have already has an hands-on with the web application with respect to XPath and the CSS. So there is a slight differentiation when compared to the web and the mobile, which will be covering it up. Yeah. What's going to be the course structure? Could you please walk through? Yes, definitely. Sure, sure. I'll do a walkthrough on that after this prerequisite. Yeah, we have that also. And yeah, and the Android SDK. So we'll be setting it up, your Android SDK and Xcode. And unfortunately, the Xcode is only for your iOS. So may I know like how many people use your iOS by any chance? Okay. So anyone uses a Mac machine, MacBook Pro, MacBook Air, or even the Mac Studios or something like that? Anyone using it? Maybe you can ping it as a Mac or a yes chat. Mac I'm using. Okay, that's great to hear. Yeah. Any other persons maybe? Okay, so no problem. So why I specifically insisted on this one is like say, so when it comes to okay, thanks Aman. Yeah. So when it comes to the automation of an iOS, we need a mandatorily an Xcode. That's the problem. Okay, so that's a problem statement. So there are other ways, alternatives as well. So, but in case if you want to experience it, you want to connect your real device, run it on a real device, run it on a simulator, on an iOS. So all these things require your Xcode, and Xcode is installable only inside your MacBooks. So in a Windows machine, we cannot do it up. Unfortunately, there's no support yet. But an Android, that means your Android Studio, the third point in the prerequisite, it is installable both inside your iOS and your that means your MacBook and your Windows. So that shouldn't be a problem. How Appium works with Flutter keys. Uh, Flutter, Appium doesn't take the programming language much into consideration when coming to that point actually. So Flutter is nothing but it's just a programming language, right? So Appium doesn't take it into consideration if the UI is ready. Okay, so if the Flutter, the Flutter based application is ready, so it needs a particular plugin. Okay, like say from the npm we can install it, like say we have a plugin called your Appium Flutter driver available, which we can install it, okay, and check it up, and the Flutter SDK as well. So again, when it comes to the Flutter, like say it needs a separate name for it actually, the SDK name. So that is nothing but we are going to give it as a Flutter, and the device as well for that. So that's pretty much the difference I can see it up from the Android perspective, because like usually there are like some desired capabilities available: platform name, automation name, device name, and the app. Okay, so platform name is going to be your Android if the Flutter is developed for an Android application, and the automation name is going to be your Flutter. So if the programming language or the or if the Android application is developed on a Kotlin or some other thing, the automation name is going to be your UI automator. So that's the difference I can see. But apart from that, no other difference. It should be able to identify it. And from the iOS perspective, yes, we have Flutter generation. Still, it's not works with Flutter keys. Okay, so is it for an Android or an iOS? You're telling this one? Maybe Usama, sorry. So is it specific to? It's for Android. Okay, so Android it should work actually as far as I know. But maybe let me check for if you have some applications inside Play Store. Just refer me as well so that I can show you. Yeah. That's feasible. Yeah, we can check it. Yes, definitely we can check it. It should work. Yeah. So maybe it looks like something like this, I would say. Where is it? Let me put it over here. So your Flutter keys would look something like this. Just a minute. Let me type it. Platform name. something like this, Android, and your automation name. So it's going to be something like, say, Flutter, and then for example I'll give the device name. So let me check the emulator as well, for example, maybe if there is any options available in the latest one. But as far as I could see in the Android Studio, I can see only Kotlin and Java. Maybe let's try to set up path of app. Yeah. So usually this is how we can do it up. Yes. Yeah, exactly. The UI automator deals only with the native element. Yes, exactly. For that only we need to install some kind of, we call it something as a Flutter Finder actually. This option is available. So it can identify it up. Okay, so to identify the elements, we have the Flutter Finder. So through that way, we can identify it up. Yes. Okay, so these are the things actually. But let me get that. If you know some applications that are already existing in Play Store, just let me know. I can download it maybe during our session and I can tell you. Maybe I'll also do something like say what it is developed on and then we can have a look at it as well. Yeah, no issues. It shouldn't be an issue. But yeah. So this is the Flutter Finder. You can use it up. Just a minute. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. So yeah, this Flutter Finder, you can use it up in order to identify it, and it's installable as well. Okay, so there is a Appium Flutter Finder available. You can use it. Yes. And for yes, just to move on, let me know Osama for anything. Yeah. And do we need to have Apple iOS mobile? No, technically not required. So if you are using a Windows, there are other ways to connect to an iOS, like we have a cloud-based systems available nowadays. A lot of providers are available. For example, that's what my next item was, like say, so Xcode is only for a Mac, but uh, yeah, just PPT. Yes, I've just spared the PPT, Anu. Yeah. So iOS, like say for Xcode, like it's only compatible with Mac, but there is an option for Windows user as well. So we have cloud providers, but unfortunately most of the cloud providers are free only for a month actually. So if you want to use it again, you need to create a new email ID and stuff to use it again. So there is something called a lot of cloud providers like Sauce Lab, uh, and then we have like browser stack and ctest. A lot of cloud providers are available. So using a Windows machine you can access that, and you can also inspect the element when you create a license version of that particular item, but only on a license version. In a free version you cannot inspect it, so that's again one more problem. But you can straight away run it and check it. You can inspect as well actually, for to a certain extent. Yeah, through that way you can use it up. But apart from that, a Windows user doesn't have more flexibility to connect to an iOS. So only through a cloud provider you can run it up. Yeah. Okay. So this is about this mobile automation, the prerequisites. And what about our Appium? Coming to the Appium part that we are going to deal about. So there is a lot of competition available in an industry. So there is a lot of tools available for Appium. Okay, but Appium stands out a bit because nowadays, like say, I can tell it as like 1xx versus 2xx. So that means like say the version of the Appium that we are using it up. Okay, so just a minute. Oh, sorry. Okay. So APM, what I can tell it is like say 1xx versus 2xx, because there are two versions of APM available. So some people are still sticking on to 1xx. That's I think the last version was 1.6 or 1.9. So that was the last version, but the latest version is kind of 2xx, which is more powerful and more user friendly when compared to the 1xx version. So a lot of people were very frustrated when using the 1xx version, but now in the 2xx version, so maybe a lot of people you might have used some couple of years back, and now if you try to see it, like now it has become more user friendly, and a lot of stuff like say has been added new or included in the package, which we are doing it manually. So those type of comparisons, when you see, it's like quite interesting, and the involvement of APM is quite high. So there is also a community available, so which usually supports, and the community is good. Lot of suggestions are provided, lot of things are shared, so it has a good community. And also like say APM is again the major thing, it's an open source tool, so no need to pay and use it. You have a lot of items available. And similar to that of APM, what are the other open source tools are Expresso and the robot framework available. Okay, so Expresso is again part of your Android Studio, so which we dealt about in the previous slide. So it is just for an Android SDK. Okay, it's used for an Android SDK, but the same Android Studio has a tool called Expresso, which can run and test the application based on the code, but not as a standalone. And also a robot framework is available, which is again kind of an APM library file available where you can integrate it, and it's kind of a keyword driven framework. So it's like almost like a scriptless, but some scripts needs to be involved. Okay, you need to write some basic scripts. And from iOS perspective, if you see, so XUI test, so that's the competitor, not a competitor, that's the only tool actually available in an industry. So iOS is like say a pretty hard part, I would say, but again it's quite interesting as well. So XUI test, so that also we'll be seeing to a certain extent, but not completely, I would say. Okay, and if you see other competitors, like say as I mentioned, Flutter driver is available, and Detox, and also like some those are cross platform tools, I would tell. Okay, and other paid tools are available, but the paid tools most probably like people will not use it unless and until they find some depth in it actually. So to refer a paid tool, I can say it as a Cobiton, Perfecto, Ranorax, and Browser Stack. Okay, and coming to the AI, so that's the latest one. So if you see the AI power tools, there is like say test.ai available. Okay, so that's a AI driven mobile app testing, but maybe now maybe most of you might be interested test.ai. So and other thing is like say apply tools. So these are the,
Arvind,
yeah.
so by using browser stack, we can perform automation without Appium. So with the
Without APM, yeah, we can do it. There is something called App Automate, so which is part of your browser stack. But again, it's a paid tool actually, so you need to pay and use it. It's kind of a real device that is existing in a cloud environment to access it, and you can use it up. And there are multiple frameworks for that as well. Yeah, it's feasible.
so it's like Selenium we use for that.
Not a Selenium, a layer built on top
S-
of APM. We call it as App Automate.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. No problem. Okay, so and most of you would have been interested in this topic, test.ai and apply tool. So right now we don't cover this one, but maybe in the future, if it is there, I'll just let you know before our session ends whether we can cover it or not. Maybe after completing our topics. So if it is there, we can do a cover on that. And this is the official website for your APM. So APM doc. Okay. So this is your official website. So there is time and again there is a conference and everything will be happening. So you can just enroll it and see the features, and it's quite interesting from personal perspective, and it's interesting as well. So an advantage, as I told you, it's the same. It's an open source and provides supports for all the three types of application, and it supports all the most of the programming languages, top end Java, Python, C Sharp. So the framework is going to differ and the programming is language going to differ, but the Appium feature is going to be the same. Yeah, the topics I'll come to it. Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, don't worry, it's still there in the pipeline. Yes. Okay, and it integrates seamlessly with CI/CD. Better, which Appium framework is better, TestNG or JUnit? It depends actually. So TestNG, it's good when you go with a raw Appium, but if you're going to integrate a Cucumber, JUnit is the best, I would tell. Okay, because it has an inbuilt JUnit built along with it. So like that, it differs actually. So TestNG is good. Parallel testing is possible. Nowadays, JUnit 5 is available. There is also parallel testing is possible, but yeah, so it depends. So both are equally good, I would say. But sellout point is like say TestNG because it's been existing for quite long time in the industry. But TestNG is mostly a code coverage tool which a developer is familiar with. So it depends again. Yeah. Okay, and the test code can run on emulator, simulator, real device, and all those things. And then you have a device farm. Actually, it's available. Maybe I can see whether if we complete the syllabus, I can tell you, like say, whether how to do a device farm. So far we are not included because that's kind of more a device we add it and then we use it up. So it's quite a complex topic, I would say. And it's not a lie, XUI test or Espresso. They work with the application code, but Appium doesn't work with the application code. It needs a UI, and Appium doesn't work with the application code directly because, like, say, we have two extensions. So that's what we were talking about, two different things: Play Store and an App Store. So if it's a Android device, it's going to be an APK. So let me mention it in the chat. If it's an Android, it's going to be APK. Okay, and if it is going to be an iOS, okay, so there are in iOS again there are two things. If you use a simulator, we need to use a zip file. If an iOS is a real device, okay, then you need to use something called a IPA. So these are the extensions of the packages that we are going to use it about. Okay, so which you can make a note of it. I just pinged it in the chat. Okay, so this is quite important to know the differentiation, but anyhow I'll be showing you the differentiation as well. And how does it work technically? Okay, so before we go to the how does this work, so I think most of you would have received the syllabus perspective, like say Appium. Okay, let me go to the syllabus over here. Okay, and let's check it out. How does it work? So syllabus is quite the same actually. So we have a mobile testing, we have the introduction and the setup, and the Appium, how to set it up, how to put the Appium running up and running from the command line, as well as okay, let's go from the top. So like so what is Appium and stuffs, we that's the same thing that we are seeing it now actually, but still few topics we are yet to discuss. These are the items and the introduction and setup of your Appium, I would say. So ADB commands, which is quite a useful command, I would tell, and that's for your Android. And for iOS we have the XE run, so that's again one more item that we'll be seeing it up. And synchronization, or let me see, I think just a minute, let me pull out it from our current as well. Just a minute, I think the syllabus would be already available in our chat. Let me pull out this one. I think this is an outdated one here. Just a second. Oh, sorry, here is it. Okay, no problem. Let me bring it over here. No issues. Okay, no problem. I think I forgot the link, but it's the same actually. Okay, so synchronization with Appium, so installation and installing Appium, and how to run the Appium without manual intervention, and all those things we'll be dealing it over here in this topic, synchronization with Appium, and locator strategies, as I told you. So web application locators also available, and also like Appium based locators also available that we'll be seeing it up, and some basic operations inside your Appium, like say clicking if drop down is available, how to handle the drop down alerts, pressing a button, actually handling radio buttons and getting the text value, getting the attributes value, all those things we'll be seeing it in this basic topic. And apart from that, there are some gestures as well available, so scrolling, long press, swiping, mouse over, and taking the coordinates and expand, zooming in the app, zooming out the app, double clicking, and some Android key events, and how to handle the keypads inside your Android and iOS, and notifications. Yeah, basically that's more important. SMS notifications, all those things, and how to toggle your data on and off, Wi-Fi on and off, and how to put your app inside a background, that is also is available, and how to handle your web views, that is also available, as you just showed now in one example. A web view button, we click it and then it goes to a new window. And we have the cucumber as well. Okay, writing, this is the framework part. Okay, how to write a cucumber file, and then how to write a page object model. And then we have the testng part as well, so features available in testng, and integrating of Jenkins as well. Okay, and reporting as well for the same thing, CI/CD Jenkins, and how to get the reports as well inside a Jenkins, and then how to run your tests in the cloud infrastructure. So I usually go for a sauce lab, so that's what it's mentioned over here. But if you can pay and use it, it's going to be easy. Okay, so anything, it's going to be easy. I'll tell you multiple things, like say browser stack, how does it work, and sauce lab, how does it work, and there is a perfecto and lambda test also available. So everything, the approach is the same, but the cloud provider is different. Okay, and also the how to set up and run your parallel testing, so that is also feasible. Okay, I'll show it to you. Yes, so these are the syllabus perspective, I would say, actually. So maybe I'll ask them to reshare the syllabus as well, and to take up a few questions. Let's see. We'll be doing a CI in GitHub, Jenkins, cloud-based Azure and AWS. Cloud-based, we won't see it. We'll be seeing the GitHub and Jenkins. So let's see if time permits. I can show you the Azure one, because I hold an account in Azure. So if time permits, we can see it, but it's almost the same as that of Jenkins. Yeah. What pipeline jobs will be created in Jenkins? So it will be created as a simple job. A Maven job will be created. And will it be a custom pipeline or a classic? So it's a classic one. You can make it as custom with the help of post and pre-build options. We can tell you. Yeah. Are we covering Docker? So Docker is not yet covered for this one, but I can show you the command for the Docker. So to how to create an image and run it. Yeah, that should be fine. Yeah, it's a small command only. I can show you. That should be fine. Yes. So any other questions apart from this? Yeah. Okay, so this is like say how does it work actually? So just to give you a small overview, like how does an APM work? So just 2 more minutes. Maybe let's cover this slide and then we'll pause it for the day and then we'll resume it tomorrow. Okay, so this working principle, like say we'll be seeing it in a live demo, but just to give you an overview, it's like a communication from the like say from the code to the APM server, and from the APM server to your device. And we have something called a mobile JSON wire protocol, which is used to communicate. and this is how it happens actually. So both for Android and iOS it's common, but the way they do it, it'll be different. So that's why I mentioned XUI test, it's for iOS, and UI automator option for your Android. So we'll be seeing this in depth when we run it in a script, but right now if you see, like, it won't be that much clear, but I'll come to these things at point on tomorrow, like how we run it up. Okay, these two slides. And the installation part, as you can see it, it's like we use an npm node to install it up, node package manager to install it. So that's the one. And for Mac, it's going to be a completely new setup. So it's through the homebrew we are going to do it up. So how to see whether the homebrew is available, how to install it, step by step we'll be seeing it. For Windows it's going to be quite easy. So if you had your in a node package manager or your node.js, it should be fine. So this is on the installation perspective, but yeah, there is a quite lot on installation, so which might go up to 2 to 4 sessions as well sometimes, depending upon your installation, how quick we are in it and how we all install it up. And then the major thing, ADB command. So this is also we need to quite focus. We have a couple of exercise for this. So ADB as the abbreviation means Android Debug Bridge. So this will be helpful for you in the real life as well as in the testing as well. So I'll give you some commands so that you can run through it, but be cautious on this because it's quite powerful commands actually, I would say. And finally the integration part, we are going to do it with the GitHub and the Jenkins. And Azure is also going to be the same, Azure or AWS, because they have their own pipelines built on. But anyhow, they are also going to use the GitHub, they are also going to use the Jenkins to sorry, not the Jenkins, they are going to use the GitHub as the platform. And apart from this, we are also going to see how a GitHub works, code check in check out. If most of you, if you're not aware, we can see the topic, but it's quite easy as well, user friendly. And yes, now to the Q&A part. I have to drop. Thanks for the wonderful, yeah, thanks Deva. Yeah, hope to see you in the tomorrow session. Shall we have notes for these course? Yeah, mostly yes, notes are available. I'll put it in a GitHub and then it will be shared across so that you have some lifetime access for it. Yeah, and Preeti, is videos available if the class will be missed in any case? Yes, definitely videos will be posted, but for that you need to provide your email IDs to me. So maybe you can take some time to provide your email IDs now so that I can share it with the team, so your sessions will be available. Maybe a quick drop in, you can put your email IDs. Can we get access to the recorded videos? Yes. So once you give your email ID, you'll be getting the access. Yeah. Yeah, that's in. Yes. So any doubts or any suggestions that you feel can make it better or can be done better, so just you have the contact Mr. Kumar, like he takes care of it, and that's projected in my slide. So just ping him and then you can inquire him. Yeah, and you can suggest him. So we are open to feedbacks. Yep. So that's all for the today. So it's just a walkover, what we can do, what we can't do, and what can be done, what cannot be done. Yes. So it's an open mic now. You can suggest anything, any topics or something. Yeah. So if there is no topics, please feel free to ping your. There is a private message option as well. You can ping it. I can share it with the Isha team. Yeah, and the videos will be shared shortly. Yep. Thanks, Preeti. Yeah. Thank you so much. Hope to see you tomorrow. So if there is no questions, please feel free to drop off. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, should be the same link. If something is there, they'll be providing an update. Yeah. Okay, thank you guys. Thanks for the opportunity. I hope no questions are there. If any questions are there, please post it in the group. Happy to support and have a great evening ahead anywhere in the world here. Thank you so much.